Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to dive into the future of the Chicago Blackhawks with a look at their 2024 NHL Draft. You can take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. That would mean the world to me as I'm starting to grow this channel and get it going. All right, let's dive into it. Let's start with a little draft recap. The Blackhawks had 8 total picks. They took Artem Levshunov with their first pick, second overall out of Michigan State. A defenseman, second, they took Sasha Boisvert, center out of the USHL Muskegon Lumberjacks with their 18th overall pick. Their third pick, they traded back into the first round for the 27th overall pick, where they took Merrick Van Acker, left wing from the Brantford Bulldogs. Then they didn't have any more picks until the third round, where they took John Mustard from the USHL's Waterloo Blackhawks, center, and then they took AJ Spilacci, right wing from the Windsor Spitfires. That was third round, 72nd overall. And then they had another third rounder, 92nd overall. They took Jack Pridham, center from the West Kelowna Warriors. Then they finished off with a fifth rounder, Joel Svensson, from over in Sweden. He's a right wing. And then they finished off with a defenseman, Ty Henry, in the sixth round, 163rd overall from the Erie Otters. The Blackhawks had the second overall pick this year, and they decided to go with Artem Levshunov. It seemed like this was going to be the pick, but I know a lot of Blackhawks fans were hoping they'd go with Ivan Demidov here, who ended up falling to the Montreal Canadiens. But I mean, it seems like this is the direction the Blackhawks wanted to go, and Kyle Davidson, at least from hearing with him, seemed like this was pretty much a sure deal the whole time. They were going to go with Levshunov. Levshunov, an offensive defenseman is what I'd call him. He stands out. He's agile, a good skater, can create plays on offense. Finished this year with 9 goals and 26 assists at Michigan State as a freshman. So almost, and that was in 38 games, so almost a point per game for Levshunov. The offensive tools are definitely there. He makes some plays that he would almost never see from a defenseman. The questions on him are some of the actual defensive decisions, I guess he made decision making. Sometimes he's really getting himself out of position or going for pucks that maybe you shouldn't, but I don't know. He's a very young freshman. I mean, he's very offensive minded is what I could say, but there's definitely I've seen some not hate, but some negatives on him as his actual defensive abilities. But the upside is clearly there, especially offensively from a defenseman, which the Blackhawks need as much offense as they can get. He could be a huge part of the Blackhawks' future on the power play. He moves the puck. I've seen a lot of comparisons to other offensive defensemen, maybe even Brent Burns in style. But he's still developing, and Kyle Davidson Company believe they really have the full package with this pick. I actually got to see Levshunov play twice early on in 2023. So a couple seasons ago when he was on the Green Bay Gamblers. One game he had no shots on goal, the other he had 6, but none going in for him as they got shut out 3-0 by Dubuque that game. But definitely has always been an offense first defender. Next, with the 18th overall pick, the Blackhawks selected Sasha Boisvert, and I know a lot of Blackhawks fans were thinking Cole Eiserman here as he was dropping, but Blackhawks go with Boisvert, who was on the Blackhawks radar the whole time, kind of the guy they wanted, it sounds like. Um, Boisvert, he's a goal scorer, 36 goals, 32 assists too in 61 games, so that's 68 points, over a point per game guy. And that's what he's known for. He's known for shooting, his shooting ability to get to the net, but he can score from multiple areas. He's scored from in front of the net. He scored from further back with a quick wrister that's kind of sneaky. He's not quite the top like high ceiling kind of guy. He's more of a lower ceiling, but a pretty high floor guy. So not really going for a home run pick, but he's had had some good reviews. He'll be playing at North Dakota next year, so really excited to see what he can do there and continue to develop there. Probably a um, line two, line three center going forward, but you can't. Nothing against Sasha Boisvert. It's a little over where he was maybe expected to be picked. So when you look back at the Blackhawks trading up for this pick, maybe they didn't need to, but they got their guy. So I did get an opportunity to see Boisvert play last year for Muskegon Lumberjacks when they visited the Dubuque Fighting Saints on January 6th. Boisvert put one home that night in a 6-3 win over Dubuque. For their third pick, the Blackhawks traded back into the first round, marking their eighth first-round pick in a 3-year span, which is pretty incredible, the type of picks they've had over the last couple of years. With that pick, they selected Merrick Van Acker out of the OHL's Brantford Bulldogs. He's everything I read on Van Acker is he's high IQ, smart, knows how to play. Two-way, so he's very strong defenders as well as can create players more for others. Finished last year with 36 goals and 46 assists, 82 total points in his 68 games. And he'll play in Brantford again this year. Couple of things he did. He played on their penalty kill and their power play. Probably projects as a penalty killer at the NHL level. So there's clearly room for him on an NHL team with the type of skill set he has. Again, very good all-around game, very versatile, a lot of things that you just need on a hockey team that aren't necessarily the goal scorer. So pretty good pick for the Blackhawks. A lot of the drafts had him going at the end of the first round, right around here. So Blackhawks love him, and he's played with Nick Lardis there, Blackhawks prospect down at Brantford. So excited to see what he can bring in the future years here. Blackhawks' next pick came in the third round, 67th overall, where they took John Mustard. Mustard, known for his speed. He did score 29 goals and 27 assists last year at Waterloo in the USHL, and I did actually get to see him once at Dubuque back on December 30th. But that was a 0-0 into a shootout game, so not a whole lot went on there. But I remember seeing Mustard, and I was like, "Wow, this guy's name is Mustard." I didn't know a whole lot about him, but the speed definitely was there. Um, he'll play at Providence next year, so we'll see what happens as he steps into the NCAA. But the rest of his game is still very raw, is what I've read. Kind of would love to see him create more plays, become a playmaker, be more consistent overall. He's got some goal scoring potential in there as well, but it's still behind, it's catching up to his speed at this point. But so even though he's a little bit of a project, the speed tool is very enticing. So we'll have to pay attention to Providence and see how he does this year. Blackhawks' second third round pick came at number 72 as they took AJ Spolassi. Spolassi, a defensive first winger, but with plenty of speed and can definitely separate himself and apply pressure on defenses as well. He's another guy who's definitely a penalty kill possibility. Potentially a depth bottom six role as he gets into the NHL. He needs to improve his offense. Not a whole lot from him. He had 21 goals and 17 assists last year in 67 games for the Windsor Spitfires at the OHL. But he is a potential depth guy who can be in there as more of a grinder and defensive first player. Blackhawks' third round pick came at 92 overall, where they took Jack Pridham of the West Kelowna Warriors of the BCHL. Pridham, everything I've read on him is excellent puck possession. So not something you normally would see highlighted out of a prospect. So it is a standout skill of his. He's really good at creating opportunities for others, controlling the puck there, and he still has some room to develop physically, but plenty of time for that. He's smart. He's got a lot of the intangibles needed in a hockey player, and he's got a lot of different ways to attack you on the offensive end. Next year, he'll play at Boston University, so we'll probably get a chance to see him at the collegiate level quite a bit. Um, but going forward, we'll see how he develops, if he can put on that strength. But his intelligence and ability to control the puck is something that really stood out to the Blackhawks and why they made this decision with their final third round pick. With their fifth round pick, 138th overall, the Hawks went with Joel Svensson out of Sweden, plays for the Vaxo Lakers. I guess a chance he might be able to be loaned out too. But he'll be over in Sweden for a little bit going forward. His his strengths have been skating and offensive awareness. That's what I've got on him. He can create for others, make quick passes, and drive to the net himself. His shot has become a weapon for him. He's really effective in space. Some of the weaknesses, not much on the defensive end, and he can be inconsistent. And he has no really standout physical traits, but um, a good flyer in the fifth round is what I'll call it here. So we'll see if he ever gets over to the Hawks, but not a bad flyer here in the fifth round. And with their final pick in the draft in round six, number 163, the Blackhawks said. Blackhawks took Ty Henry out of the OHL and the Erie Otters. Henry is described as a solid, reliable defenseman. Very defensive defenseman. Had no goals and 7 assists in 54 games this year for the Erie Otters. His skating's solid, but the offense is very limited, as you'll see by the no goals. So that's something that maybe he can develop into. Honestly, overall, a pretty good draft for the Blackhawks. Honestly, a lot of versatility as well. They've got Levshunov, the offensive defenseman, Boivert, shot guy, scorer, Vanacker, the hockey IQ, defensive forward, kind of grinder, Mustard, the speed, Spalasi, energy and defense, potential penalty killer, Pridham, puck possession guy, can create for others, Svensson, skating, awareness, potential guy, and then Henry, the defensive defenseman. So they really did reach a lot of different skill sets in this draft. Maybe not as many home run shots as some might have liked with Demidov and potential for Yzerman at that 18th pick, but overall, a lot of different potential building blocks for this organization. And as Kyle Davidson said, they got all the guys they wanted, and now they got to see if they're right. If you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging in with me for these first couple of videos. Please like, subscribe the video, and I'm very excited to keep making these videos.